Well, good morning, everyone. It is 10:10 a.m. Central Time. That means it is time to see some domes. How is everyone doing this morning? I see some people have found the chat. Perfect. I see a lot of familiar names. A lot of our Dome Talk folks are with us today. So welcome back and welcome to everyone who is new to Dome Tour or is visiting us again virtually. So my name is Carrie Miller. I will be your moderator today. I will be monitoring the chat and putting links into the chat and trying to get your questions to Dennis and Derek as we can. So I just want to make sure everyone can find that chat. It looks like everybody did. If you haven't, go ahead and tell us where you're coming from today and just say hi to everyone. We encourage everyone to interact in the Dome community. And while you're doing that, I am going to start our day off today with a question for all of you. You'll see a poll launch in your screen. You're welcome to answer, or you can just ignore it if you want and just look to see what the answer is. But we're just wondering who is joining us today. Are we have dome owners or potential dome builders? Or people just wanting to look at some cool architecture today? So who's with us? We have a lot of potential builders in the audience, Dennis and Derek, so I think this is going to be a great day to show off some beautiful domes that we have on the tour today. All right.
Trying to find the chat here. I don't know where it is.
The chat, depending on how you're coming into us today, it could be at the top of your screen. You just have to hover the mouse over the top of your screen or at the bottom. I will make it easier here. One second.
No, I didn't realize
sharing.
I didn't realize you could hear me there.
Yeah. So that's a good segue into my next. Let me end the poll and I will segue into my next thing. So we have the majority of people who answered our poll this morning are potential builders. So we have 17 of our folks here that answered are potential builders. So welcome to the potential Dome Home family. I am going to keep mics muted for the most part to reduce background noise. So just be aware that I will be muting everyone as you come in and keeping you muted. Now, if you do have a question that's more complicated, just throw me a line in the chat and we can find a good spot maybe to unmute you and ask your question. If it's something that's going to take, a paragraph or War and Peace to put in the chat, might not be time efficient. So just flag me down in the chat and we can find a spot for you. But otherwise, I'll keep all your mics off just to keep that background noise down. And welcome everyone. So who the heck are we doing this dome tour today? We are Natural Spaces Domes, owned and operated by Dennis Johnson and Tessa Hill. Located in North Branch, Minnesota, we have a complex of an office dome, 3 model dome homes, a screen porch dome, 2 workshop domes, and a furnished prototype of a mini dome, our option for small living spaces. We invite you to visit our complex for an in-person dome tour wearing a mask at this time. Natural Spaces domes are easy to build, healthy living spaces. They're fantastically energy efficient and provide you the best housing value around. We hope that you engage with the dome community while you're in this virtual dome tour. So please feel free to chat with each other and keep an eye on the chat for links and questions that we'll put in there during the course of the dome tour. I'd like to introduce you to our hosts today, Dennis Johnson and Derek Miller. Dennis is the dome guru and has decades of experience designing and fabricating domes. He knows what works and what doesn't and has designed over 1,000 domes worldwide. His patented dome connector system is the best available. He'll help you at every step of your dome dream as a contractor, builder, designer, and dome owner. You're always going to want to talk to Dennis about your dome ideas. So he's going to be explaining a lot of the dome features that we see today. And most of them, I think, Dennis, you know off the top of your head by memory, if I were.
Yes.
We haven't stumped you yet on any of these.
No.
Our project manager, our project manager, Derek Miller, is our other host today. He joined the NSD team a few years ago, bringing with him a lifetime of construction experience and handles a wide variety of responsibilities for us. From collaborating with Dennis on project management and client contact to working in the shops to refine building techniques, he's familiar with the dome process from the ground up. He's also our video guy, filming and designing the educational videos for virtual classes and tours like this one. So without further ado, Dennis and Derek, let's get our dome tour started.
Right.
All right, this is my partner here, Tessa, my wife. Give her a little introduction here.
Thank you. Glad you're all here.
Yeah, we are. It's the other part of that introduction is that Carrie is the wife of Derek. So we're all related here.
Yeah, family business.
We're coming to you from North Branch, Minnesota. We're about 45 minutes north of Minneapolis, St. Paul. It's a gorgeous day here. It's going to be 87 degrees Fahrenheit, 30 degrees Celsius.
Yeah,
Rather warm for a May morning. Woke up, it was 70 some degrees here. Not typical,
Yeah.
but we'll take it.
right, right. Yeah. Okay, well, we have,
We got 9 domes. Go ahead, Derek.
I was just gonna say, yeah, we have 9 domes for you guys, so we'll kind of get fired into it quickly, and we definitely encourage questions. We know, obviously, we want you to be able to get the opportunity to see domes as good as possible. It's not the same as being in one, of course, but we have a lot to get through, so we'll kind of try to get through them, and whatever time's remaining, we want to have available for questions. But at the same time, we're going to try to take a couple questions throughout. Something pops up in the chat in between each dome, we'll try to answer a couple questions. So, so I guess we can just get into it, huh, Dennis? What do you think?
Sure, why not?
All right, here we go, guys. Okay, we had our one intro, now we got a little video intro of us here. So our first dome is the first dome is in Minnesota. So that's kind of where we'll be starting here.
This is the landscape around us here in North Branch. The aerial
Yeah.
view, zoom.
We threw a couple of pictures in here just of us putting up a dome for dome school. Thought that way you can see a little bit of the skeleton before you see the dome, so you can kind of just get a couple of visuals of how this stuff goes together. So, all right. So this is Cheryl and Dan's dome up north, Spring Lake. And they got a double dome, so you get to see a couple here, which is kind of nice. A nice big connecting link between them. So, yeah, these guys did a phenomenal job on their interiors of the dome. They really did a great job with all the woodworking they put in there. Very beautiful on the inside, which you'll see soon here. Believe it or not, it was below freezing this day. So it looks nice, but it was a little chilly.
Yeah. A larger dome is a 40-foot diameter, high-profile dome. The other one is sitting on top of basically about 12-foot high riser walls. There's a garage underneath it. It's a 30-foot diameter dome.
Right. So as we come up the top of the stairs, that's the larger dome that we're looking into now, the 40-foot, which is the home on both levels. And then we're panning over to the smaller dome that Dennis was just describing that sits on top of the garage. So there's the home portion on top of it and then the garage below it. So kind of a neat feature of the domes. Like this is a little bridge they have going across above the entryway. So it's kind of neat.
We often put stairways on double domes. We put the stairways in the connecting link, frees up the dome from a design standpoint. Some of the walls on their upper level here do not go up to the dome wall, and that's an option for you. If you've got a family, you'll probably want to run them up to the top, but if it's just the two of you, you can leave it at 7 feet, 8 feet. The laundry here is on the upper level. It easily can be anywhere you want it to be these days.
There's an egress window, Dennis. And
You got a glimpse of the, You got the glimpse of the cupola on top there that did not have a floor underneath it. And we often do that. Provides a lot of light and ventilation inside. This is up in northern Minnesota, probably about an hour, hour and a half from the Canadian border. Cheryl and Dan may be on this video. I mean, on the Zoom video that we have.
Cheryl is with us today. Yes, she's here.
Okay, good. Hi, Cheryl. You can see how people live inside of a dome. Furniture arrangements are usually specified by the people. We try to lay them out or provide a layout that's going to work in a couple of several different situations when we do drawings. You'll notice the open railing here on the top with the wire, horizontal stainless steel wire. It's all in what you want for a decor. All of these domes, you're going to notice that the curve of the dome on the second level is not as steep as people think it is. And there's quite a bit of room on that second level right out to the floor line. This is a cupola with a alternating tread stair, call it a monk's stair. And it's got operable windows really on all 5 sides. Great ventilation. Those can be automated too, so you can have them controlled from the main floor. We're still on the upper level here. You can see the opening between the 2 domes. We take out the pentagon, as you see there on that screen. Going back down to the main level. Makes a nice entrance area where your guests come in, mudroom area. Fireplace here is off in its own little area. You can put fireplaces against the outside wall or the inside, anywhere you want. It's that chimney that you have to look at as to what a true wood burning fireplace. You got to figure out where that flue is going to go out. We're still on the main level.
Yeah,
Cheryl and Dan have a large bank of skylights at eye level in the main living room area.
real nice big island in that kitchen too. Is lots of room.
Just to clarify, the cement floor is on the ground level, correct?
No, this is the main floor right here is on the ground level. Yes.
Yes. Okay. That was a question in the chat, so I just wanted to make sure I was answering correctly.
Yep. No, this is a slab on grade, so.
Which means no basement for those of you folks that
Right. Yeah.
aren't in Minnesota.
Concrete floors. Yeah. It's nice. In Minnesota, basements are a common thing, but I think people are starting to think of them as having a larger home without a basement as a better option than putting a basement underneath the home. So it's becoming more popular to have slab on grades, even in the colder areas. There's those
40-foot diameter dome. The raw area in that 40-foot diameter dome is about 1,250 square feet without the extensions. I've forgotten the total square footage they have, because you've got a main floor, upper floor in that 40-foot, you've got a connecting link that's 2 floors, and then you've got the 30-foot dome, which is above the garage. So I'd probably guess, probably open Cheryl's mic and ask if they remember how many square feet they have in there.
Yeah, because the 1,250 on the main, that would just be the main floor too. So yeah, once you get the upper floor, and yeah, it's a good sized dome, nice extensions. So yeah, does anybody have any questions on that one, Carrie, before I jump into the next one? Or
We do have a question about how well radiant heat in the concrete floor works with domes. And I know, Dennis, you have some experience with that in Bear Creek. So
Yeah, we have a radiant floor in our 49-foot diameter dome. The main level is 2,100 square feet, and the upper level is 1,100 square feet. We have 5 zones on the main floor. The average heating bill, I did this for the last 10 years. We have natural gas. It's a boiler, if you want to call it. It doesn't really boil the water, but it heats the water to about 135, 140 degrees. So the average bill is $530 a year. And that's from our typical October to, well, usually the end of May when we get some cold weather. It's very efficient. What'd you say, Tessa? Yeah, we happen to have air conditioning on right now with a mini split up here on the upper level. It's cooling us off inside, dehumidifying us too, because our humidity level popped up yesterday.
we have 2 follow-up questions. Cheryl says she thinks it's about around 4,100 square feet for her dome.
Oh,
Okay,
thank
good.
So we do have a question about connecting domes. Does it weaken the dome structure when you make those connecting links?
Does it leak?
Weaken the dome
Weaken.
structure.
Not really. You've got a 40-foot dome, and the main floor, we have several areas that we take out, but you got 105 struts in the whole, I should say 105 triangles in the whole dome. And where the connecting link opens up in the pentagon, so we take 5 of those triangles out. The dome is all interconnected. Every strut is connected to the other. So no, there really is not a weakening of the dome structure at all. Not anything significant, and we brace the walls on each side of that opening.
it's a good question though. Yeah, because we got another double dome after this one that might give us good opportunity to explain that one a little bit as we're going through that next dome.
So
So this
we
one's
have
in Wisconsin. I'm sorry, Carrie.
sorry, we have a couple questions still. One maybe for Tessa about the cement floors. If you have to varnish them, and I know you guys did, Dennis and Tessa, but do we recommend a specific varnish? And then the other question would be just maybe a quick review of the advantages of a dome after Tessa talks about her varnish.
You know what? Can
We
we,
used a
maybe we
non-toxic
should,
product.
I was just gonna say, should we table that question? Oh, I was just thinking,
Want to
since
do
we
that
got Bear
again?
Creek at the end, maybe.
How about we wait till Bear Creek to do
Go ahead.
There's our floor right here. And it's not varnished. It's just got a stain on it.
Yes.
So we'll discuss that later, yes.
We'll talk about Bear Creek's amazing floors, and Tessa did those herself, but I don't want too many spoilers for that.
Sure.
Right.
And then the follow-up question would, could you just do a quick review of the benefits of a dome structure in terms of weather and heating and cooling? Just a quick, why domes?
Why domes? It really is the inside space. When it all comes down to it, it's the inside space of this dome. The amazing feeling, the aura inside of this dome is tremendous. The practical side of this is that, first of all, a heating bill. We got 3,200 square feet of space. We're heating it for a little over $500 a year in Minnesota, where we get minus 30, minus 40 degrees, which is minus 30, minus 40 degrees Celsius too. We have wind speed ratings that we start at 150 miles an hour. The dome is anchored down to its foundation. What you're dealing with for snow load is around 100 pounds a square foot for snow load, which the only spot in, well, there's spots in the mountains, in the Western mountains that are higher than that. And like I said, we start at 100 pounds a square foot for snow load. You're not going to have much snow on the dome because it's going to, first of all, be blown off, and secondly, going to fall off because of the steep angles. So the practical side of that is all of those issues when you get to your friends and relatives saying, why in the heck are you building a dome? And just ask them what their heating bill is and talk about that. Mainly, we get people inside the dome real quick to talk about it. Simply, they're wowed by it. And when you get inside, you just can't believe the space that you've got. We always leave part of this open. This is our living room, dining room, kitchen area, and there's a second level that we have with a balcony all across. Pretty typical to a lot of our dome plans. Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll jump in and we'll get, yeah, we got a lot of domes to get through, so we'll see if we can kind of grab some of these questions
So wanna
as we go. And
Take Scott's dome since you were there.
oh, sure, absolutely. So I actually really like this dome a lot. This is a 36-foot diameter dome, and just an awesome couple of people that live here. And this is in Wisconsin, just outside of Green Bay. And as you can see, you walk in and the dome is kind of so it doesn't impact the main part of the dome. So you kind of have a little privacy with the guest bathroom and the washer dryer.
You guys are
Or
freezing
Scott.
a bit.
What's that?
You guys froze.
Oh, did we? Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. We got brand new internet here, so it's kind of, all the bugs aren't worked out of it yet, so I apologize for that. But for spiral staircases, they got a nice large one. It doesn't, you don't feel like it's a real tight spiral as you go up it, which is nice. And they have a really nice stone fireplace. You can see the back side of it there a little bit. That really is a nice dominant feature in the dome. So just one main bedroom on the upstairs. So they got plenty of room up there. They have a little home office. Kind of a nice little dormer setup. I'm not a big fan of dormers on domes, but this one actually works out pretty nicely. It creates a nice little nook where I believe Sonia has her office at home there. So it kind of gives her an opportunity to work from home, which of course nowadays is a nice opportunity. So right here is a little office, and like Dennis talked about earlier, they opened up the Pentagon. You can remove all 5 of those struts, and then they just bumped it out a few feet, just enough to have a little space there and some windows that they can open and close for ventilation. They have a nice walk-in closet on the left, and then it just kind of looks over the dome, which is kind of nice. Nice bank of windows there, or skylights on the dome as well. And then a couple upper skylights for some natural lighting. Actually, I'm going to pause it here, Dennis. You brought up a good point on this spot. This is a location where you can see the angle of the triangles would make it a little tough to have a mirror there that would be perpendicular to the floor level. So in this case, they just cut into the strut a little bit and probably did a higher density insulation, maybe spray foam or something, and just created a small little vertical plane on the second floor to be able to have a mirror on the outside wall. So there's a lot of creative solutions to a couple of those things. Often you can orientate it where the mirror is not on an outside wall, but in this case, they wanted it there so that, you know, the sink was underneath a skylight. So it kind of worked out good for them. And then no ceiling on the closet. They just left that open. So you got air circulation and you can't see it from the dome anyway. So that works out pretty good. So yeah, this is the second, I think the second owners of this home. So the original owners may have designed some of this upper floor around certain pieces of furniture, but it worked out great for Scott and Sonia to be able to put in a little dresser there in that little bump out spot. You can kind of see here, Again, just the view from above, it's nice open space. You have the dining room, the living room, kind of sharing that open space. And the kitchen is also open to it with the floor above it. So, and Sonia is an excellent cook and loves to entertain and cook. So they got a nice big island there that they is kind of open to the rest of the dome. So they can have a lot of people over and entertain them fairly easily with, it's amazing how many people you can fit in a dome really for, you know, on a per square footage basis, you can get a lot of people in here comfortably. So you can have some good get-togethers. Lots of light comes in through those windows. They're kind of orientated where they get a lot of sun. I think they're south, I want to say they're south east a little bit. So they get a lot of natural sunlight in there, especially, you know, they're on the lower level of triangles. So when the sun is low in the sky during the winter months, they get a lot of direct sunlight during the winter, but then in the summer when it's a little higher, more hitting that glass more vertically, it doesn't get so much sun in. So that's kind of nice. So
Somebody was asking if they had a masonry heater in the dome.
in this dome, I guess I am not sure.
We,
Do you know, Dennis, what they did originally?
that one is not a masonry heater. That's the regular. We got a delay going on here, I know, but this house does not have a masonry heater. This is a regular wood stove insert that you see, a regular fireplace insert. We do have domes that have what are called masonry in fires going, Russian stove. There are different names to them, but that's a large mass of brick, and you heat it and it'll stay heated for 3-4 days. And we have several domes that have that type of a masonry heater in the dome.
Yeah, that was all real stone as opposed to veneer. So I'm sure if you did time, so this is the lower level, of course. You know, they have the mechanical room down there and a bathroom and a little family room and a couple bedrooms. So it's nice with the one bedroom on the upper floor and a couple bedrooms down below. It gives them their main floor to be wide open just for, you know, shared space. So it's kind of nice. Kind of a nice floor plan. A 36-foot diameter dome is almost 1,000 square feet on the main floor. I think it's like 950, Dennis, is that right?
Yeah, close to that.
Okay.
The model number of our domes is the square footage of the main floor of the dome itself without any extensions. So this one is called a model 950. It's actually 968 square feet. But you can get a good idea when we look at the model number. You notice that's half in the ground, basically. The lower level is 3 or 4 feet down.
Right. It allows you to have some nice windows above the soil line. And I had to get a quick shot of this. This is his man cave, of course, as you can see. And they make their own wine. That's why I showed the vine in the very beginning. And I was fortunate enough to be able to try a little bit. It was phenomenal. And I thought this was just a neat room. So I got a couple seconds of footage here because I thought, boy, I can't let that go by. So this is Rick and Peg, and they were up by the first dome we saw up in Spring Lakes. Just a couple, well, a lot down, maybe 2 lots down from that first one. So here's another connecting link. I don't know if you want me to pause it, Dennis, if you wanted to get more into the structure part of it, or if you felt you explained it well enough, but this kind of, this would again be in a connecting link where you come in. You can see, I'll pause it there. You can kind of see up in the top center of the screen, you see that little V shape. So those are part of the dome triangles. And so you can kind of see where they opened them up. And like Dennis said, it doesn't really compromise the integrity of the dome or the structure of the dome at all. And you can do this in 5 different locations on a 3-frequency dome or a 4-frequency, or pretty much any of them other than a 2 frequency or smaller, you get a little more limited on how many openings you can put in, but
This really is a split level dome. So you walk in and you walk down a half level and up a half level. This does have a lower level basement, which is not totally underground. So you're in the upper level of the dome right here. So there's an open bedroom up here. Typical to have a couple of windows over the bedroom. You need a lot of light. You should have a certain amount of light coming in. And this one's got a full cupola floor up there. All the bedrooms need an escape window, and that rectangular window is the escape window. There's the jacuzzi tub right up against the outside wall on the upper level. So you can see that it, yes, it curves in, comes in some, but not a lot. This is the master bedroom, upper level basically of the dome. A 40-foot high profile dome has a lot of space upstairs. We don't cover over the whole dome. We got very, very few domes. There's probably a couple of our domes where the main floor is covered by the second floor. You lose the advantage, this aesthetic advantage of the interior of the dome. This dome is also a 40-foot dome. It has a stairway going up to the cupola, a regular stairway. And you can do that in the 40-foot diameter dome. The cupola is limited to the size of the top pentagon, but you see there's a lot of space here. There's a dome in Minneapolis where she has her queen size bed up in the 40-foot cupola floor with a little bit of room to walk around and a little spiral stair that goes down from it. This is always fun. When you're walking up and down stairs, you see this dome curving up and over. The dome does not need any support from interior walls. So you're free to do whatever you want on the inside. There you see a typical living room grouping, dining room, kitchen around the corner. They've got the privacy upstairs by having a wall up there instead of an open railing.
And here's a triangle skylight they put in the kitchen where they turned it into a bit of a trapezoid to make it fit in there, around the cabinets and stuff. So you can do whatever with the skylights. You're not limited to just triangles. You can kind of modify them or customize them however you want. It's kind of nice.
Dennis, would you say that most of the domes on the tour are pretty customized from the plans that we have on our website? Do you do a lot of modifications, or are they pretty standard?
We don't really have standard domes. We have about 225 plans that we have on our dome planning pages. People looked at those and they go, oh, this is really interesting. This is about what I want, and they make a change from that. Or they get ideas from one to another, or from one size even, and then they want a different size. Almost all of our plans, I have to say, are what are called custom plans. There's some variation on it. Occasionally, you'll see some plans, and I kind of know which ones they are. They work very well. They show off very well. So, talk louder. Okay. The interior paneling on our domes is a spruce paneling. This paneling in the dome that you see is not. I believe, I'm going to say it, but I believe it's birch. We can get different species of wood, but it all comes down to what you want. And there's a cost difference between the spruce and other species. We're in the lower level of the dome right now. And again, by having a, 3 or 4 feet in the ground and then have windows in there that feel like a normal level, you've got a lot of space. Downstairs in this 40-foot, again, is 1,250 square feet. The main floor is 1,250 square feet. You got 2,500 square feet. It's right there. Then there's an upper level. That could be 800 to 900 square feet. Easy.
Yeah, this one, we got just a couple shots in the garage here, but it's kind of neat to have a dome garage as well. You could see that you could put a little loft floor up here or something. They got, this one's ventilated. You can see the ventilation port right there. And you can see the ventilation cap, I'll call it, on top of the dome to the left there.
Cheryl did mention that was Pine Tongue and Groove. It's her brother's home, so she said
Oh, is it pine? Okay.
pine
It's
on there.
the pine from northern Minnesota, right? Yep.
They did a phenomenal job on these domes. I mean, they really, the interiors are really well done. Beautiful dome.
It was a family venture.
Let me pause it real quick, Carrie, because I know I went through a couple there and I know we're going to try to get through them all, but was there any questions on those last two that I didn't really give anybody a chance for Scott's? We can grab a lot of questions at the end too for any of those of you that we haven't gotten to yet, but I'll try to keep the video going, but I just thought in case there was one that was pertinent to that, I'd pause it quick, Carrie, if you had one.
Most of the questions we have are sort of general,
Okay, perfect.
general construction dome questions. So I think we can nothing specific to those
Keep going.
domes.
Okay, perfect.
We do have someone asking about the price of each dome, but I don't know if that's information we actually have for those.
Well, we can talk a little bit about that at the end too, because yeah, that's a big question. So this is the Forest Dome. This is one up here on the campus. In fact, I'm right next to it. It's connected to the dome I'm currently in. And this used to be Dennis's, was this your first dome home, Dennis, back in the day? Or I guess I don't know if it was ever your first
this
one.
dome was built. Well, it wasn't the first dome, no, but the first one we built to live in. This was with my late wife, Janet. This was built in 1975 and extensively remodeled as you see it here in 1983. So it's 38 years old. That's what you're looking at. It's kind of an eclectic inside, some Southwestern stuff, different than what we have in the new dome with Tessa. Dining room area has seating for about 20 people. We've had Thanksgiving dinners there, easily fit 3 tables in there. Piano is always a hard one to deal with. If you got a piano, you need a space for it. You want to keep it out of the light. There you see this hexagon grouping. We have some fireplace. It's a wood burning fireplace inside. It can actually heat the house. There's some grills down below and fan unit. The cupola up there, it has no floor. There is a loft in it. So you can get a lot of light coming out of that upper level, the loft level. There you can see the old TV that you see there, about 1.5 feet thick.
Yeah, I think we're experiencing a little lag time on you, Dennis, maybe.
Yeah, I know.
It's, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It still works though,
For
because
some
we
reason-
come back to it.
Yeah,
When you say it.
my computer here is slower than even Tesla's. The upstairs loft area, we kind of snuck that in. This is a 3rd level of a 46-foot diameter dome is what this loft level is. And by having that raised cupola, it makes the headroom area upper loft really nice and a lot of light coming in. It's the 50s furniture room. We got a TV set that's looks like the 50s also. It works. Yep. There's a small window seat that we've got. We took one triangle out no struts, and created a seating area. And you're looking at the paneling in the dome, and this is spruce, and this is from 1983. So this wood that we have is 38 years old. There is no finish on the wood. There's no reason to have a finish on the wood. So it's just adding more chemicals to the inside of your house. The original dome in 1975 had a nice cranberry orange shag carpet, typical for the 70s. This is the 70s bathroom with the blue and yellow trim and the foil wallpaper on the outside panels of the dome. We did update that in 83, but it's still 80s look. We do have a composting toilet in this bathroom. The redwood trim that you see in the bathroom and various places is from a Greenbelt brewing vat, beer brewing vat that we bought that when they were remodeling the Greenbelt brewery. So the redwood is from 1890s. There are 4 bedrooms in this house. One on the main floor, this one here, and one upstairs, and then 2 downstairs. The downstairs is like a walkout. There's a door downstairs. So the back side of it's at grade. We've got a creek that flows around all 4 of our domes here. And it's about 30 feet below. So it's a very steep hillside. We built right over to the edge of it.
This would kind of be the main floor, for instance, if you're a slab on grade normally, right, Dennis? So this is the basement in this dome, but you can see how the dome wraps around the hillside to this lower level. So essentially that main floor up there is
main floor. It's you notice the videotape machine and the videotapes, right? Yeah. It's a nice master bedroom. It faces to the east so that when the sun comes up, especially in winter, when the sun angle changes to come right straight through the windows. But that's what a dome is all about. This window light area, it's tremendous. It's telling you what's outside. You have a very strong connection with the outside when you're in a dome because of all of those skylights that you're going to have in various places. You can tell what's going on. A conventional house, you're in a box, and you don't usually have skylights.
So this is the dome I'm currently in right now, called the guest dome, and this is connected through that connection link you could probably see there to the dome we were just last in, the forest dome. This is a smaller dome. It's 30-foot diameter, but it doesn't feel small when you're inside. You can see there's a large, good-sized bedroom here in the extension. And so that opens it up a little bit. This particular dome does have 5 extensions, but a few of them are fairly small extensions because the original occupant wanted a lot of viewing space. She was an artist and wanted to be able to look out some nice large windows. So this is one of the only domes around here, and probably the only one on this dome tour that has no triangle skylights. It's just all conventional windows and then a couple conventional skylights overhead for ventilation and natural light. So this is shows that you don't necessarily have to have the triangle skylights to have some nice large views. You can put some large windows in the extensions if you want. Good sized bathroom. This was handicap accessible. Originally it was designed that way. So there's a nice large bathroom, big shower. I stay up here a few days a week when I got a little bit of a commute, so I kind of live in this dome part-time, and it's nice to have a large shower like that, even if you don't need it for handicap reasons. It's just nice. At least I like it. So, but as you can see, lots of natural light even through conventional windows. Dennis definitely designs that element into a lot of his homes and domes that he does. So, little loft up there it was mostly for the second people that lived here. I think it was the second family that lived here had a little girl, and that used to just be a storage space up there, and Dennis converted it into a little room for her. So the ceiling height, I'm 6'4", I can stand up in the very center of it, but that's about it. It's really kind of more of a kid's room, but it works great for that purpose. So kids love it. Dennis has a grandchild that comes to visit every once in a while, and he comes running in there and goes up there right away every time he gets in the dome, loves it up there. Light switches about 2 feet off the floor. Everything's kind of set up for, little kids. So it's pretty cool. You can kind of see the screen dome out there. We don't show it in the dome tour, but there's a little screen dome through the window. You can see there that's just essentially a domed, the framework with screening material attached instead of exterior panels, just to kind of create a nice bug-free area. It has a little partial roof over it, so if you have a table under it, it starts to sprinkle or rain, you can get shelter from the rain, but in other words, it's wide open. So there's that little room up there again. And you can see the two conventional skylights up there for ventilation and natural lighting. But in other words, all the windows are conventional.
So we do have a question, since we're on a dome with many extensions. Do the extensions affect heating costs of the dome?
The dome itself per square foot is very, very energy efficient because you have less surface area to lose heat. So the extensions on this dome are going to have the same R value and insulation quality as the dome itself, but they will not be as energy efficient as the dome itself. So yes, they would technically create a small compromise to the overall efficiency of the structure. So for instance, this is still very energy efficient, but if you wanted to maximize, if you were to build a dome 100% based on energy efficiency, you would be better off building a larger diameter dome with no extensions. That's not really a good design necessarily, but yes, they do compromise efficiency a little bit.
I'll mention that
But in this case,
what we're dealing with on these domes that you've seen here, the forest dome and we call the guest dome, these are 15-inch thick walls. The R factor is around 44, 45. There are no studs in our triangles. They are wide open, full of insulation. These also, the ones up here that you just saw, are ventilated domes where there's an airspace between the insulation and the outside panel. So the new one that you'll see at the end has 18-inch thick walls, and the R value is 64. So that's where we are today.
Oh, I see Nancy's on here. Hi, Nancy. Our office manager joined us this morning to check out the domes. She's probably been in all of these herself, but good to see you. So here we have a little ventilation skylight and an egress skylight as well up on this in this little room. So that skylight would open up enough for you to be able to crawl out of it if needed. And like Dennis mentioned earlier, that is a requirement in any bedroom in any home, conventional, dome, log cabin, whatever it is. You have to have some form of egress from a bedroom in case there's a fire where you can't escape through the bedroom door. You have to have a second option. And in domes, it's not difficult to do. There's many options. You can take out a whole pentagon and put a big skylight in there. You could do a dormer like on Scott and Sonia's dome where you could go out that way, but somehow you have to have some kind of egress or escape option. So in a dome, typically it's a large ventilating skylight that will open all the way and provide egress. we have some better shots, I think, of it too and a couple other domes coming up. So to point that out, but
The guest dome has cedar paneling on the inside. Again, no finish on the cedar. It's got a little bit of a rough sawn, resawn face that we have. They are miter cut at the corners. You can't really do that with anything but cedar because cedar really is a very stable wood. This dome was built in 95, so we're talking 25 years ago. And the wood has not shrunk.
and cupola, I point that out since I'm showing it there. That's just a way to ventilate the dome shell. Like on a conventional roof, you may have a ridge vent, and this is just a little ventilation option for domes where if you have a ventilated dome structure, that's where it can vent through. So this next one is Gloria, 33 foot. This is another dome I also like. You can see the solar on the left-hand side here. And that solar panel set right there powers her. I think she said it basically provides 100% of her energy. And I think she's able to sell the maximum amount she's able to sell back to the electric company. And I may be wrong on that, but I kind of remember saying something about they sized it. The electric company said this is all it will take in excess energy, but I think it provides 100% of what she needs. I'm sure her heating is not electric, but it does everything else. So even though this is not a real large dome, Dennis put in a real nice large staircase in it. So it's not a small little stair to walk up on. It's kind of nice. Those tiles were actually, she was a elementary school teacher, and those tiles were produced by some of the students at the school, and they made them for her. So she incorporated some pretty neat features like that into the dome. She's got a few neat features. In this bathroom, she has a stained glass. You can kind of see it up there on the left, a little stained glass window that allows light from that triangle skylight behind it to kind of shine in and bring a lot of natural light into the bathroom without compromising any of the privacy and sound and stuff. It still has the glass window in there. So
We have a lot of domes that have windows, skylights that create light for more than one room. Part of it is you could leave the upper level or wall off, or you create a glass panel between the two, as you saw in Gloria's there. Some of them are very expensive, 6, 8 feet wide. So that's a little trick we've learned just to throw light around in the inside of a dome. The 33-foot dome that Gloria has on the main level without extensions has 800 square feet. So it's compact. She's got what she wanted was a 3-season porch, and she turned it into a 4-season porch room on that main floor. She has a lower level to this, which is half in the ground. So you want to call it a basement, but it's half in the ground. There is a cupola. It's a small cupola. Again, it's based on the size of the triangle up there in the Pentagon. So we take those Pentagon triangles out, and this is a 33, so it's relatively small.
there's there's an egress window on the left behind that little TV. So you can see one there that is in between two triangles. So yeah, the cupolas are kind of a neat.
We do cut through a strut. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say the cupolas are kind of a neat feature. I know when I introduced my wife for the first time to domes, and she saw them, and that was kind of her requirement of me when we build a dome, is that we have to put a cupola in it. So, so I find whenever I do domes that have them, I like to get a little shot. You can see here she's got 360-degree views of just all windows, which is kind of nice. It allows you to. We've been in cupolas where people have little chairs up there and they can just sit back, read, and enjoy 360-degree views. They can open them up and get a lot of fresh air if they want. It's kind of a neat space. Kids, of course, love it. So it's, you know, just another neat thing on a dome, I guess.
One of the things we haven't mentioned is the siting of the dome. In Gloria's case, she kind of grew up in the farm country, farmland, and there was a couple of blue harvester silos across the road down a half mile. And she wanted to look out at those because those reminded her of the farm country that she liked to grow up in. You can see the ventilation windows that we do in the riser walls. So people ask, well, where's all the operable skylights and operable windows? Well, they're right there in the riser wall of the dome. These are awning windows, they're 2 foot high. And then the cupola has windows that open up. And again, like I said, it can be electrically controlled from down below. You don't have to walk up. You can just open them from a button.
There's more of our handmade tiles from our students, making a nice ledge there for, you know, possibly plants or something that you could have in front of the windows, take advantage of all that light. Her cats like the cupola as well.
You could
Said, I think, what's that, Dennis?
I said, you could make your own tiles. They're very easy to do. And then
Yeah,
with the riser walls that we do, the thickness of the dome, that sill on the skylights that you see above the riser wall, it's a nice display ledge, plant ledge. It can be that 15-inch, 18-inch wide, but it can also be shrunk down to the typical 8-inch wide. The structure of our dome is done in 2x8s, so the riser walls could be 2x8 if you got a window below it and a skylight above it. There's no reason to have a ledge except for if you want it for plants or the cat to hang around on it. Variety of options that you have.
it has a really nice pantry. I can't remember if I got any footage of it, but that pantry is really nice and gives you a lot of extra space in the kitchen. So as Dennis said, it's not a real large dome square footage wise on the main floor, but you don't really have to compromise anything for space. There's plenty of cabinets in there, a nice little, you know, kind of peninsula sticking out for a breakfast bar or seating area while you entertain. So my wife loved this room because of all the windows, and it's a nice little extension. Give her some extra space on the main floor to do whatever you want with it. You can kind of see she has a collection here. I guess those are just gourds, right, Dennis? Am I calling them the right thing?
Yep. Yeah, Gloria is really into the outside. She's got a large garden area near the solar panels that you saw. I know we have some pictures of her 8 to 10 foot high sunflowers. So.
Yeah. Well, and she was doing some, I want to say milkweed seeds when I was here, and I got a lot of great footage of her. I'm really hoping to get some time to make almost just a video of her doing her thing, because she's a really neat lady, and she does a lot of cool environmental stuff, trying to get stuff for the butterflies and things. So she's a pretty neat lady.
She really came along and wanted to see some domes. She was a friend of ours prior to buying one of our domes, and toured a lot of domes and decided to help some other people put their domes up. And she went to about 4 or 5 different dome raisings. You want to stop that right there on that. Let's
Sure.
talk about her a minute. And that's a feature that we do. We're talking about joining in on a dome raising. And she did, like I said, 4 or 5. Well, then they felt obligated when she said, okay, I'm building my dome. So she had some built-in help from all these customers who knew what to do. And so our dome raising list is that way. Give people a 2 or 3 week lead time, they'll show up. It's a unique dome raising event.
Yeah.
Since you introduced that, we do have a question on how many people it takes to build a dome in a decent amount of time, and can you pay people to help do that?
I'm going to answer that by saying it takes one person to build a dome. We've had one guy, and he wasn't very tall, and he built a restaurant dome, a 40-foot high profile dome down in Durham, North Carolina. So it took him a while. He figured out some tricks for one person to handle this and that, and some ways to lift the panels. But the reality is, if you're looking as an owner builder to build this dome, you will find people that go, a dome? Really? How do you do that? And they will show up. And you have scaffolding as the primary thing that you use to put the dome up. So with that, people are going, well, I don't know if I like scaffolding, but you'll find that when you say, well, hand me that strut, hand me that panel, pass this up, give me the hub. Pretty soon, people that came to watch are totally engaged, climbing around on the dome. The dome is a self-supporting structure. And so with that, you're climbing around. You can hire it out. Any contractor can build a dome. How long does it take? Generally on a small dome, it's probably a 2-day project. On a medium-sized dome, like a 36-foot high profile, if those have been done in like a long weekend, a 3-day weekend. So it is a matter of how many people you have. The one that we did up in Effie, Minnesota, in the boondocks, the population of the town of Effie is 50. I think we had 60 or 65 people show up for this dome raising. The word spread. That dome was put up in 1 day and paneled in 1 day.
Yeah.
There's a contractor on a larger dome, 46-foot, oh no, it's a 49-foot diameter dome. They came along, they had 4 guys total on their construction crew, had never put up a dome before, talked to us for a while, didn't come to our dome school, but talked to us and kind of read our construction manual. They built the entire 49-foot dome, the riser wall, all the struts that are going up, and put the exterior panels on in 4 days. On the 5th day, on Friday, they were doing extensions and covering the panels with the underlayment for the roofing. So it does not take long. A contractor is going to, the ones that haven't done it before are going to say, yeah, well, I'll bid it really high, kind of, that's what happens. But if you hire them on a time and materials basis, you're going to be better off because it's going to surprise them how fast the dome goes up. So that's the key part of that.
Okay.
Okay.
Can we, I do have an important question, and I think it'd be good to help the audiences. When we talk about the 40-foot 3-frequency dome, how are you measuring that 40-foot? Is it the interior or the exterior of the dome?
All of our domes are measured on the outside, to the outside of the framing of the dome. And then we have the thickness of the dome subtracting from that. That's the normal way that you talk about a house. When you talk about a house that's 32 by 64, it's not the inside dimension, it's the outside dimension. The realtors measure real estate square footage from to the outside of the wall. So that's kind of why we do it the way we do it. The 40-foot dome is a true 40-foot dome. The radius is 20 foot, 0 1/2 inch. The 36-foot dome is the same. It's true that way.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I was just saying, yep, to the outside. So if you have real thick walls, the inside wouldn't be 40 feet, but the outside would be. So the ones you're seeing are all on the inside going to be less than the numbers you're seeing, but on the outside, that would be the number. So, okay.
But like I mentioned, the square footage that you are looking at is what a realtor would use, or even the assessor. He's going to come along, and we've had some assessors that must have flunked out of the math class because they couldn't figure out the square footage inside the dome. And we do that. We know what exactly it is. We figure the extensions into that. So it's not complicated. It's very easy to do. When you're looking at the inside space, yes, we have a lot of different sizes, 30, 33, 36, 38, 40. So if you want a certain inside space square footage, then we can tell you what that's going to be. Our standard wall thickness these days with fiberglass, like I mentioned, is 18 inches. But we can do foam insulation and do a 2x8 wall, or even a 10 3/4 inch wall, or a 12-inch wall. All of that is going to take away from that outside space, but it's still the volume of space inside the dome. You give, like Gloria's dome, it's 800 square foot to the outside of the wall. But you walk into that and you go, there's more than 800 square feet in here. It feels bigger because of this 2-story, 2.5-story open space that you have, balconies around. You can't tell there's square walls because they're angled. So it kind of fools you. And we use the space effectively.
I'm going to sneak one more question in because Dennis mentioned it. The actual thickness of the insulation cavity, because you mentioned 15-inch walls or 12-inch walls, is that the actual thickness of the cavity for insulation?
Yes, what you're dealing with is the insulation. There's two different things. I won't go into a lot of detail here, but if we're talking 18-inch thick wall like we have here in our Bear Creek Dome, it's a ventilated dome system with 16 inches of insulation, high density fiberglass insulation that we use. They're one-piece triangles of insulation. There's an airspace between the insulation and the outside panel. If we're using foam, it's sprayed against the outside panel from the inside. We do a hot roof, and if we did an 18-inch wall, which is done, there's one dome out in, several domes out in around the country, but the one out in Salt Lake City is 18 inches of fiberglass, totally filling the wall, no ventilated airspace, so you call it a hot roof. So there's a lot of things that we do. We want that R value to be an R60. You're down in Texas, we'd like to see an R60. You've got heat, you've got air conditioning. So that's a pretty standard thing. How you get that, there's several ways to do it. And if cost is an object, or if you're an owner builder and have to do it yourself, we can walk you through those things in the design process.
All right. Yeah. Good questions. Good questions. You can see here, since it's been paused on it for a while, the size of that lava lamp, huh? It's compared to that outlet. That thing's a monster. All right. So this is another nice dome. Another one in Minnesota here, but this is a 40-foot. So this is up the diameter. And let's see here. I think I waited so long. I gotta do this. There we go. All right. Another split level as you walk in. So this one was a owner builder dome as well. So Gloria is the last one we watched, like Dennis said, helped out on a lot of domes, and she built her own dome. And this one was an owner builder also. So again, they're simple enough to put up that a lot of people that are not normally contractors or in the construction industry feel confident to build these themselves. However, having said that, go ahead, Dennis, sorry.
I've got a lag time here. These are cedar panels on the inside. You don't see any hubcaps. You don't see any batten strips, again, because cedar doesn't shrink. So you can get some nice cuts in here. This was built by the husband and a teenage helper that he had from the neighborhood. So yes, it can be done. This is a low profile dome, so the riser wall on it that you're talking about is about 3.5 feet high. It's just above the kitchen cabinet height, so it works out very well. Another 80s dome with an 80s interior in the kitchen. You can see a lot of light. This is a residential lot. It's about a half-acre lot, just a nice sized lot, but it is in a residence, and it backs up to a high school parking lot in Mounds View, Minnesota. The low profile 40-foot dome does have room in the loft for a master bedroom. It's got a bathroom, got a closet, and all this open space on the main floor. There's also a large bedroom on this main floor. You know, it's got a lot of space. The lower level is, I believe, 3 bedrooms in that lower level.
I don't, there might just be 2 down there, I think, or maybe, because I think they opened it up quite a bit, but I guess we'll see. I don't remember now that you said it. I think it's just 1 or 2 actually. But they do have a bedroom on the main floor as well as the lofted one.
Right. So you're dealing with 1,250 square feet in that lower level. So you could easily fit 3 bedrooms in the lower level along with a living room or study or family room. This dome is connected to a conventional garage. That's part of Rich's collection of old cars that he's working on. So it's a 3.5 stall garage.
Now you can see the difference of a low profile dome versus the high profile on the ceiling height on this upper level. So we saw a couple 40-foots in the beginning, and you could see the walls were a little more vertical on that second floor because there was another row of triangles underneath the dome, I guess you could say in this case. So the Pentagon would have been 1 more row of triangles higher than you're seeing it here on the riser wall. So it just gives you more height upstairs. But even in this case, on a low profile, you can see you have plenty of room up there for a nice bedroom. So it kind of depends on if you want a larger second floor or you just wanted a lofted second floor like this one. Kind of, you have the options, I guess, to do either one. So it's kind of nice. There's the main
You can
floor
see
bedroom.
in the various rooms, this house does have a wood foundation basement, half out of the ground. And we do that, we still do that. It's treated wood. So it really can give you, as an owner builder, the option to actually build your own basement, and you don't know concrete, you don't know concrete blocks. There are other options for an owner builder to deal with that. Bear Creek Dome here does have, all of our domes here in the headquarters complex that we have wood foundation, either stem walls, lower levels, crawl spaces. It's all wood foundation.
Yeah, nice sized room down there in the basement. This is a walkout basement, which is kind of nice. If you're going to do a basement, it's nice to have that option. So yeah, these are I think the current owners or the second owners very excited about living in a dome, and it's a beautiful dome. So you see here you want to talk about that?
Eric, you can talk about it because I've got a lag time here. We figured out that we're connected on Wi-Fi. We connected with an Ethernet cable. So you take over and talk about this roof, what they shouldn't do.
Okay. I'm going to let it go to that one frame where it shows some of the updates so I can show a comparison. So roofing of a dome is not any more difficult than roofing of a conventional home. I think a lot of people assume it's extremely complicated, and it really isn't. However, there's just like anything, there's going to be one or two details that are unique to the structure because it's a unique structure. And here's a shot where we can kind of show the contrast between them. So roofers that are not thinking of how to roof the dome properly will often resort to just putting caps on what they consider hip ridges, which are the joints in between the triangles. But as you can imagine, seeing water running down this is going to hit those ridge caps, and those ridge caps are the shingles that go over the joints of the triangle. And in this case, it kind of almost wants to scoop the water into that joint. So you can see kind of the lighter colored shingles is where they did it properly. And the shingles just themselves overlap the joints so that the water just runs down and overlap and continues on. So this is a problem you don't see in a lot of domes, but this is a good opportunity to point that out, that domes are not difficult to roof, but if you roof them wrong, and this is one way of doing it, that will lead you into some kind of problems. And so yeah, there is a right way and a wrong way, just like anything else. And usually ridge caps don't belong anywhere on a dome except for off of an extension where there's an actual ridge. So that's kind of, yeah, not to get too into the details of roofing, but this is something you'll see every once in a while, and don't think it's the way you want to do it if you build your own dome. So, all right, so this is David's dome.
Before we move on, we have a question. Dennis, can you ballpark how much that last dome cost for the audience?
Well, as far as cost is concerned, this dome sold from the original owner, and that was a couple years ago, I believe, not more than that. I've forgotten almost what the sale price is, but it was a reasonable price. I want to say it was in the range of $250 or $280. I could be off on that. Home prices these days are really gone up quite a bit, especially in the Minneapolis area. So the cost is really, we do cost analysis. There's a cost square footage cost calculation guide on our website, and it's what you put into that. It's what you put into it from the standpoint of the kitchen, the bathrooms, how many bathrooms you have, how big is that kitchen, and you can spend, $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 on a kitchen, or you could spend $50,000 to $60,000 easily on the kitchen with upgrade appliances and a lot of cabinetry. So that's really what affects the cost of any structure, any house, same way. Our dome shells, you'll see, you can buy a raw dome shell, and you're talking anywhere from the smaller ones at $20,000, $30,000 to the very large ones at $40,000 or $50,000. But it's a part of the total structure. So we're always guiding people from the standpoint of the cost. A lot of it's based on square footage. How much square footage are you going to build? So it's what's inside, what are you going to put inside? We've got people that say, well, I just want one bedroom. If it's a single person, I only want 1 or 2 bedrooms. But then they want this large dome. We've got 1 or 2 bedroom domes that are, 5,000 square feet. And it's a 1 or 2 bedroom dome. So you can't go by, here's a dome and here's what it cost. The domes around the cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul, we have quite a few domes because this has been our headquarters. I'm going to venture to say there's probably in the range of 400 domes in the Minneapolis, St. Paul metro area that goes south to Red Wing and western Wisconsin and up where we are, but that's what we have. Domes are selling all the time. And people say that you can't sell a dome. No, you can sell it. If you can't sell a dome, we'd have all these domes sitting on the market. They don't sit on the market. People are interested in them. They're energy efficient, like any other house. If it's complete, if the design is nice, it's going to sell, and it's going to sell fast.
Yeah, before we move on, Dennis, I'll just throw one more thing real quickly on that, so we can get through these last couple in our allotted time. But you know, now with lumber prices too, if you were to build this yourself, I would venture to say, because there's so much less lumber used in a dome per square foot than a conventional home, you could probably build these yourself per square foot for less money than a conventional home. You know, if you have somebody build it, it may cost more like a custom home pricing, because there's some unique features that the contractors will, you know, bid a little higher to give them extra time to address some of those details that aren't just, you know, everyday run of the mill for them. But as far as materials go, I would say per square foot, you're not going to be able to build a conventional house as cheaply as a dome if you're just looking at from a material cost. There are some components of the dome that are fairly expensive, like the custom triangular skylights. But overall, I think that they're a pretty good value in that respect. But I won't go down that rabbit hole too far, because that's a big conversation. But I just wanted to bring up the lumber thing, especially in today's market where lumber is very high, that domes use quite a bit less lumber. So, okay, and this
That
is
figure that we use. That figure that we use is 60% less lumber, because we don't need all of the struts in between 16 inches on center. We've got pictures of framed houses, conventional houses, similar square footage to Bear Creek, 3,200 square feet. And it's a huge amount of lumber that it takes to do that. You have attic spaces, you have trusses. You can say, well, a truss is more efficient. It really isn't. Our dome strut can be built just with 2x8 struts. And here's like this dome I'm in. This is a 49-foot diameter dome. It's got 250 struts. They're less than 8 feet long. If I give a builder 250 pieces of 8-foot lumber and say, hey, build me a 3,200 square foot outside shell to a house, he'd think I was crazy. You can't do it. So the efficiency factor comes in materials. So that's a big part of what we're into.
okay. This one is this next dome, David's dome, is based on our mini dome. And what he did is he took our mini dome and added another level as a walkout basement below it. And you can see he's got some pretty cool features along with a large solar array. I never talked to David, but looking at the size of that, I almost would imagine that would provide his heating, cooling, all electrical needs, and probably everything else. So he sent us, we didn't have the opportunity to go out there and film this, so he sent us a lot of still images that we'll kind of cycle through here. So. And that's the fly eye. Is that what that's called, Dennis? The fly eye dome?
Yes.
One of Buckminster Fuller's designs. That's pretty cool. He's got that.
Not sure where he got it, but.
Yeah.
The lower level on this is a walkout basement. So he took our mini dome and created this lower level, which has a master bedroom in it with a large bathroom and closet and utility room. So yes, it's a mini dome, but it's a little bigger than a mini dome. So square footage wise.
Yeah.
Square footage on the main floor of the mini dome is 400 square feet. So the lower level is a replica of that. So he's got 800 square feet. The upper floor loft is probably 125. So it's just under 1,000 square feet. That's still a small house. This is the upper floor, and it, from the standpoint of the space use, he's got a small spiral stair that goes up there like you saw. It's open, very open, airy feeling. It doesn't have, closed in feeling. And we look at those tiny houses and you crawl up some weird little ladder that's hard to get to. This is a standard little spiral stair that goes up here, but you crawl up into this. This is 8-foot ceilings on the upper floor in this loft space. So, and it's open on the left down to the kitchen and open on the right down into the living room area. You could close those off if you wanted more space upstairs. Easily done. It's not some tiny little kitchen either. This is a decent sized kitchen.
Yeah, you can see it's still under construction a little bit. He's doing some of the finishing touches on, but he was, again, nice enough to share some photos so we could show people another version of the mini dome and things you can do. So that's the lower level stair going to the second level, and then that other one was going to the third level. Is that right, Dennis?
Yes.
Okay.
Spiral stair going downstairs from main floor to downstairs, walk out downstairs, and then a smaller stair going up to the loft. That allowed him to put that spiral stair to the outside edge, where if that went to the third level, the loft level, you'd have a headroom issue. So he solved that by a smaller spiral stair that he got for that.
Yeah, it's kind of a neat shower. I like that.
Nice size shower.
Yeah. Okay, well, we actually, for Bear Creek Dome, and if you have questions, this is where you're gonna wanna stick around. This is Dennis and Tessa's dome. This is the dome Dennis is in currently. Beautiful dome. It's got a big wow factor whenever anybody comes to visit our domes. And so after this short video, and this was actually a video produced by Discovery Channel, and was it for World's Greenest Homes, Dennis? Was that the name of the program?
Yes.
I believe. And so so we put a snippet of that video in here. Some of you may have seen it since it is, it's actually on our website, but we wanted to run it again for those of you who haven't. And then this is a great opportunity for any last questions that Dennis can answer. And Tessa, I don't know if I cut you off earlier, but you were starting to talk about the floor, but since I knew we were coming back to this, we can maybe elaborate a little bit more on the floor as well. Tessa did all the finishing of this floor. So she's kind of the master when it comes to staining concrete. So she'd be the one to talk to with questions, but I'll let this video play. Dennis will give us both a little bit of a break since there's audio already built into the video segment. It's just a few minutes and then we can try to get to any questions anybody else has that we haven't had a chance to answer yet. So, okay, here we go. And yeah, great. All right.
And in Minnesota, getting the most for the least, a dome in the woods.
This uses 60% less material than a conventional house. When you count the wall and the roof area, resource efficient is the word that should be used.
Nestled close by on a 50-acre wooded lot is a home called Bear Creek Dome, based on a geodesic dome made popular in the 1950s.
We've got a 49-foot diameter dome, so outside to outside is 49 feet. It ends up being with the cupola on top, which is used for ventilation purposes. It's about 33 feet high to the top of the cupola.
The spherical design of this home provides strength because all the points of the structure share the stress evenly. It can withstand earthquakes and 200-mile-an-hour winds. Even the weight of several tons of snow only makes it stronger. And a dome shape uses 60% less structural material than a traditional box home. What makes Bear Creek Dome so special? Everything in this dome is as natural and chemical free as possible. Meet Dennis Odin Johnson and his wife, Tessa Hill. When it comes to domes, Dennis is an expert. He's been selling dome building kits since 1978. They finished building their dome home just in time for their wedding in 2007. Because domes are self-supporting, they have no internal walls, so the interior is a large open space. There's a large kitchen that spills into the dining room, a living room, and an entertainment area. On the other half of the main level is a master bedroom and master bath. Upstairs, on the loft level, is a guest bedroom, and an extension from the dome leads to a small home office.
Welcome. We're so glad to have you here. This is our home. This is called Bear Creek Dome.
Come on in, take a look at our dome.
And this is my wonderful kitchen. I love it here. It's big. It's very non-toxic, both in the products that we use to build it and the products that we use to clean.
And there's good reason why Tessa and Dennis are so passionate about the products they use.
I lost my son to a brain tumor when he was 11 years old, and I believe the toxins caused that problem. And Dennis and I both lost our spouses to cancer, so we're constantly on guard, and we're constantly trying to tell other people about these issues.
Tessa does that through her organization, Kids for Saving Earth. Its mission is to educate people about toxins in their environment.
Everybody congregates in this area, and you feel very comfortable. We've tried to make it a very informal space. The oak slabs are from our property. These all came from one tree in a consecutive cutting of that tree. So the holes go through, and they're all from the same tree. And I know the tree. I know where it came from. It's from our property.
In fact, most of the wood comes from fallen trees on their land. The rest is reclaimed or sustainably grown.
We also like the wood that's not so perfect. Most people are looking for perfect wood, and obviously this is our kind of perfect.
This countertop, it's about 18, 20 feet long, is made from redwood that's from the Greenbelt Brewery in Northeast Minneapolis. This is turn of the century, 1890s, 1880s wood.
Dennis has been collecting things for many years. How long ago did you collect these?
About 1970, I got these.
Well, this is the central living room area, and I love this couch. We got it at a store that sells product that's been used for design purposes in different facilities. So it was a great bargain for us.
When it comes to heat efficiency, this dome gets top marks. The floors are radiant heated. The windows are triple pane, 1/4 inch tempered glass, and the dome walls are 18 inches thick with 16 inches of insulation.
This past winter, the thermometer downstairs at 5 feet off the main floor read 65 degrees. 5 feet off this floor on the upper level was 65 degrees. People say heat rises. The difference in the dome is that if hot air rises, cold air drops. You've got a natural airflow happening in the dome.
This is what I would consider the most central feature of the home. It's beautiful. When you have a fireplace like this, you don't need artwork.
And by putting the fireplace in the middle of the dome, the heat radiates evenly.
We also have outside air intakes, and that stops any interior air from going into the fireplace. So it's a sealed glass door unit. We're able to heat the master bedroom and 2 rooms upstairs with ductwork that come off of this. It also blows hot air coming out of the vents on the top of this fireplace.
I really love the mantle. The mantle is Corten steel, and we intentionally rusted it. Before we put it in, we had it outside in the rain. Once it rusts to a certain point, it stops rusting. Just love the look.
And it's hard not to miss the big slabs of stone that make up the hearth, leftovers from abandoned iron mines in northern Minnesota.
This is taconite rock. You're seeing rock that is 2 to 2.5 billion years old. The open pit iron mines had to remove all this overburden to get to the high grade iron ore. It's about 3,000 pounds of rock. We went up and picked it up with our pickup truck and trailer, hauled down this rock. This is just all natural stone.
Now it's on to the master bedroom, just behind the living area.
There are a couple of really cool features that I love. One of them is this bed, which is also a Murphy bed that lifts up and we close up. We entertain a lot and have big events, and we want to have this space so people can actually wander in here and have it not be a bedroom. So that's why we did it. But for anyone trying to save space, this is an excellent option. Another favorite feature of my master bedroom is the sauna. It's an infrared sauna. It doesn't have that steam that sort of burns. I could never tolerate the steam and the heat. I like it because it helps take toxins out of my system. It makes me sweat. Anytime you sweat, you get more toxins out of your body. 20, 25 minutes, and it's great.
What's even better, this sauna uses 90% less electricity to operate than a conventional electrically heated one.
This is our master bathroom, and there are several things in this bathroom that have enviro design aspects. Of course, we've got the fallen wood over here. And these are seconds, these bowls, they're actually solid bowls. We drilled a hole in them and they make a perfect sink. And we put non-toxic polyurethane over it and they work beautifully and they were very inexpensive. This is our shower, and this is a fiberglass door that actually came off of a property that we have in North Carolina that was demolished during the hurricane. And we saved a lot of components and we reused them. A big part of what makes this space is the light and the beautiful window. Now, you don't have to have a mirror to brush your teeth. I can do that without looking. And I can look out at this beautiful natural scene.
Dennis has been singing the praises of dome-shaped homes for 30 years. They're energy efficient and give you the most amount of space for the least amount of material.
If someone wanted to build their own dome, I know they can do it. But if you're not afraid of scaffolding, anybody can do this. It simply bolts together, very simple, and they go together in 2 to 3 days.
And just in time for that big event.
It was a joy to have a wedding in a home that you love and that you feel so much a part of.
All right. Well, I think that was kind of mostly what we wanted to get through for domes. We got a few still images that we'll just cycle through as we can answer some questions. So if anybody is not interested in the question we're answering, they have something to look at, some visuals that might inspire another question. But did you have, it sounds like Carrie's gotten bombarded, so we'll see if we can get through as many as we can here. But I'll let
Well,
you take over, Carrie, if you want.
Well, we promised we would talk about the Bear Creek floors, so I think we'll start with that, with the staining and Tessa's recommendations for staining and doing the concrete.
You might have to give Tessa your mic, Dennis, so we can hear her good.
We're operating off the computer mic, so.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah, the floor was really very easy today to do. It just takes a little effort a little energy, I guess is the word. And I'm just thinking that just about any of you could do it. The recipe for the materials that we used are on the website. We used a non-toxic stain that we tested several different colors under our stairway so we could see what it looked like, what the stain was going to look like. And then we just applied it with mop, sponge mop, not one that has grooves or designs in it, but one that really are used.
No, you can tell.
Okay, one that really, okay.
I'm just showing the floor.
Showing the floor, okay. That doesn't have any marks on it. It's a nice smooth one. I did about 3 coats, and I had the help of one of the guys that works here at Natural Spaces Domes to do it. But this is a big floor, and it really didn't take that long. And I wanted a patina to it, so you can actually buy the concrete with stain right in it. which is fairly expensive, but also very static, very much the same everywhere. And I wanted the difference. So it's very easy to take care of. I love the concrete floor because, you know, it's just so easy to clean, and pets and animals and things coming in, no problem. So anyway, I would suggest trying it. What I do is I use a wax to make it shiny when I'm in the mood. I don't always do that. But give it a try. I think it's worth it. You can always put something on top of a concrete floor after if you change your mind and decide you don't like it, but I really like it. And it's always warm and cozy because we have the radiant floor heating. And then in the summertime, it's very cool. So I would suggest it.
Thanks, Tessa.
Hey, yeah, thank you.
So on the same subject of radiant floor heating, can you do radiant floor heating on the main floor if you have a basement?
Yes, you can. The floor would be a wood floor with joists. So you have your PEX tubing, your rubber tubing that the water's going through underneath the plywood. It's stapled up underneath it. It has a little deflector pan that goes along with this system to widen the heat dispersion between the joists. So it's a standard system done all the time. We have many domes that have the main floor being radiant floor heated. What we've learned is that the upper floor, usually if you have your main floor radiant floor heated, you don't need anything on that second level, on that third level, if you want to call it that, if you've got a basement. So if your basement has got radiant floor heating, it will heat your main floor, but will it heat the upper floor? There's not enough data on that we know from our customers to talk about, yes, it heats that third level. Is it needed? The one that's near us here, they never turned their third floor radiant floor on. So it was on in the basement. They can control those zones and they can control the main floor zones also. So generally they were turning things down and getting enough heat out of that to keep it comfortable. We turn our thermostat on to what we have as on the wall over here, 71 degrees. That seems to be this nice temperature. We don't turn it down at night. We do not turn it down during the weekend if we leave. This is a mass. You're heating all this concrete and you want to maintain that temperature. You'll use less energy. So leave it. Just in October when it's ready or whenever your season is, if you want to turn that on, turn it on and leave it. The first couple of days, you can feel where the radiant tubing is. It'll be warmer in those parts, but give yourself a week or 2 weeks at the most, and this thing evens out.
So I do, before we go on to our next question, I do want to just let everybody know we have reached the end of the tour portion and we are going to go into questions. We are recording this. This will be on our website for you to access if you've missed anything or you want to review anything. And if we don't get to your questions, because we are over our time, which is not unusual for us, you know, we do understand if you can't stick around, but we also have Dome Talk every month coming up in the summer, starting in June. And that's a great place to ask more detailed, complicated questions, get some really in-depth answers. So if we don't get to your question or we don't answer it as thoroughly as maybe you needed it, please come visit us for Dome Talk, and I will put that back in the chat here in just a second. And that's starting back up in June. So we have a couple of questions on alternative roofing to shingles on domes, and including elastomeric roofing. So can you talk a little bit about alternates to typical asphalt shingles, including elastomeric?
Do you still have your samples there, Dennis? Your props?
Yeah, I'll take my prop out. Talk about the elastomeric, or talk about that first and I'll grab the other one.
Okay. Yes, there are a few options. Elastomeric is one that I think a lot of people like the idea of because it looks kind of futuristic on a dome. It really shows off the geometry of the dome. And it does work well, but only in limited areas. And that's generally drier, warmer areas. New Mexico, Arizona, parts of California, parts of Colorado. It does great. Like where we are in northern Minnesota, where you got a lot of climate changes in the weather, where you get snow and lots of rain, it makes it more challenging to apply it properly and have it be a leak-free solution. And then Dennis was just grabbing a Ranky Shake, which is an aluminum option. It's basically for a metal roof. And that particular option it's a little pricier. It's probably 2 to 3 times the cost of conventional asphalt shingles, but it is supposed to be a lifetime roof. And I can't even imagine why after 100 years or even longer than that, it would still not be performing perfectly fine. We did do some test roof parts here, and this drone footage that's in the background, it does show a spot of a metal roof. I think it might even be coming up, and if so, I'll pause it on that. But that is another option right there. Oh, hold on a second, there we go. Okay, so this is I kind of call it our experimental dome. As you can see, there's all kinds of different roofing materials on there. And let me see if I can back that up just to get a little bit closer shot. So the red portion and the gray portion kind of to the right-hand side, the lower right-hand side, are 2 different colors of metal shakes that Dennis was just holding. He actually has the newer version, which is a little bit larger than these and a little bit thicker as well, but they're real similar to these. And these are called Ranky Shakes. And so you can do a metal roof on a dome. They look great on domes. In fact, if you go to our website under roofing, we have a few pictures of domes with the Ranky Shakes that they look great. So yeah, that was a long answer.
I'll mention on the photo here that you're looking at. Take a look at the lower right. It's kind of the lighter colored brown rust. This dome was built in 1981. Those are the original shingles. It was sort of a way to say, well, how long are these going to last? Well, they definitely were past their lifetime here, but we started replacing them this year. So 2021 from 1981, it's 40 years. It was a 15 to 20 year shingle. So it worked, it lasted not quite 40 years, but we do have the original shingles on the Forest Dome. Those were done in 1883 during the remodeling that we did. They're still on. They were 35-year shingles and they look great. There's not a problem with them. The shingles that we currently use, asphalt shingles, are Malarkey Legacy. And it's a 50-year shingle. That's 50-year shingle. So the elastomeric roofing, like Derek said, you want a dry climate zone to do that in. The aluminum shakes are an option. But most of our domes are going to be done with asphalt shingles. So your color selections are there. Malarkey has some very nice colors, about 10 different color combinations that they have. It's really a great roof. It's got hail resistance, tremendous hail resistance on those shingles, and it is a 50-year shingle. And in knowing that my 35-year shingles are way beyond 35 years and still looking good, I really feel this is true for a 50-year shingle.
Yeah, I think so. The materials are just getting better as they have, now they're composite shingles. And so that increases the life of them and the durability of them as well. So there's.
If you look at the elastomeric roof, you need to have a certain thickness. So if you put it on and it's 20 to 30 mils thick, and that takes anywhere from 6 to 8 coats, thin coats because you don't want this done very thick. You want to apply thin coats. There's a base coat and a top coat, and there's a primer on there too. You're going to have a roof that will last for 10, 15 years before you simply need one more coat on it, probably to freshen it up. My brother has that on his cabin. And we had about every 5 to 7 years, he wanted to power wash that. And then it was but 14, double that is when he put a new coat, color coat on it, because he was in a pine tree forest with poplar trees, dirty type of tree, and it's streaked and everything. So it was a light color. I kind of thought it should be a darker color, but he chose this lighter color, so it showed a lot of the streaking on that.
All right. What else you got, Carrie,
Look.
for us? See if we
All
got
right.
more squeezed in.
Yeah, so can you give an idea about the horizontal beams that support the second floor? So size, how does that work?
The structure of the second floor is supported on the main floor. We have a structure here that you're looking at up here for our second level, and you're dealing with I-beams. Well, they're actually not I-beams. They're they're micro-lam, get my words here, micro-lam beams that are cantilevered out about 4.5 feet. They go way into the back where the bedroom is, and
Oops, we got some freezing.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, you're back on, Dennis.
yeah, we gotta figure this one out, but we will.
You were talking about them being cantilevered 4 feet over
Yeah.
the microlams.
And they are going back and attached to a rim joist that goes around the inside of the dome. That is, that doesn't go into the dome shell of the dome. We want to keep that as a insulation layer and vapor barrier layer and air barrier layer. So we don't want to really penetrate through that. You're going to compromise that when we do a ventilated dome shell. So we stay out of that dome shell and support everything on an inside wall. You always have inside walls. You got a bedroom, you got a bathroom, you got closet space. They're there. We don't really hang it from the dome. We can, we have in our shops. We've done that. You need to have the engineering data to prove that for the building inspector when you do that. And yes, we can do engineering for that. But by the time you're done spending $500 or $1,000 to show the building inspector that here's an engineer certification that you could hang that from the dome, you could buy well, you've already bought the material. You already have the main floor walls. You don't need to hang it from the dome. So we've got an 18-inch thick wall. We can hide a post inside of that wall. All we need is the 2x8 outside structure. So we can put a post in that wall, cut through the inner 2x4, which is a non-structural component, and support a beam that we run into the wall. So you don't even see where the post is. It's hidden in this 18-inch thick wall. So no two domes are alike on that second floor. So we look at what your floor plan is and how to support that. It's all part of the design that we do. Very simple, conventional framing. We don't do radial framing of floor joists. You might change angles here or there, but you're dealing with 16-inch on center generally, or 24-inch on center. So.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I think we'll take one more question since we're over time, and some of these are kind of complicated, and so might be better to start Dome Talk with them. And so the last question I think we'll take for today is, what is the advantage of a low profile dome over a mid profile or a high profile? Is it cost? Is it aesthetics? What's the advantage of a low profile dome?
A low profile dome is really something that means that you don't need a lot of second floor space. It's going to reduce that second floor. And if you just want one bedroom, depends on the dome size. If it was 36-foot diameter, you could actually fit a bedroom up there, but it'd be small and it would be in the center of the dome. So at some sizes, you can't fit much up there. The dome that Derek is in has that room up on top, and it works well for a kid's room. So that's 30. The 36 on a low profile, you can fit that one bedroom. More than that, can you fit a bathroom and a closet up there? Probably not. So you go to a 36 high profile dome. Now you've got 2 bedrooms, a bath, closet space, all that room. You didn't change the main floor. You didn't change your square footage on the main floor. So that's how we look at that. It really eliminate what the difference between a low and a high is one band of triangles. So if we were to eliminate this band of triangles that we have, and we've got over here, we'd eliminate this band of triangles, if you can see me in my little screen, then we'd have a low profile dome, and it would sit down on top of the riser wall. Low and high and mid relate to the geometry of the dome, the height of the riser wall here, where we've got this 3-foot high windows. We have a view out here to a creek below. So with us, we wanted those to be tall windows. So we did a 40-inch high riser wall and a mid-profile dome on top of that, because we like the height involved. We have a cupola up on top without a floor for lighting and for ventilation. That's the main purpose. So you look at it from that standpoint. Do you want 1 floor living? We've got 1 floor living here. We've got 1 floor living where it's the master bedroom, bath, closet, kitchen, all the stuff that we would use is on 1 floor. The upstairs to us is the guest bedrooms. Kids are coming, friends are coming. We have this complex of domes here. It's interesting. We do a New Year's Eve party and we say, okay, you're staying over, because we've got about 7 or 8 bedrooms combined here with all these domes that we have. So we can do that. So it's all in how you're going to live. What do you really want for yourself? What's important? Yeah, if you need that upstairs space because you've got the kids, or you want to do a basement space, we shy away from basements. It's not really these days the best space to have, but some sites might dictate it because it's sloped ground and you got 8, 10, 12 feet of slope. Then you need to do a lower level. We're doing a dome right now. The design is a very steep site in near Salt Lake City. And that one, I believe the lower level is about 10 feet because of the hillside. We had to do 10 feet to have the upper level of the main floor at grade on the back, on the side of the dome at that point. So we look at your site situation, and maybe you got a view. We did the beach dome in North Carolina. We had a lower level. You were 9 feet off of the dune before you got to the first level. First level had 4 bedrooms and 2 baths. The second level was the dome. It started on that level. There was a 3rd level in here also because it was a 38 high profile dome. So all of that is the versatility that you have in the dome. What do you want? What do you want to build? We've got the dome size to make that work.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Dennis and Derek, for your time and expertise and showing us all the domes, and Tessa for your floor expertise on this one. We thank you all for being here today and joining us to do this virtual tour. We had a great ending question about what are we doing in the fall, and we have an in-person dome school in September and an in-person dome tour in October. So keep your fingers crossed that that's still going to happen. So we hope to see some of you in person, maybe perhaps with masks in the fall. And we hope you've enjoyed this. Again, we are recording this. We're sorry we didn't get to everyone's questions, but as you can see, there is no simple question. So we take these very seriously, and we appreciate your time and attention today. Derek and Dennis, is there anything you'd like to say as we sign off for the afternoon?
No, I'm glad you could join us. We really like to show off a variety of domes. I'm sure we'll do this again, the live dome tour here in October. We'll have some new domes that we've never had before. So that's our goal. We'd like to get you inside of a dome.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everybody again who lets us film their domes. We always appreciate you letting us share your domes with some newer people that haven't had the opportunity to be in them as much or see or even be in them at all. So it's all of those people that let us show their domes today. So thank you guys. And thank you everybody for coming. It's always great to have a nice turnout like this. And yeah, we'll have dome talks coming up for more questions, more dome tours. We're going to get this one posted. So just keep checking our website. We'll be updating things as soon as we can on a lot of different fronts. So.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. Yes, thank you, and have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah, have a good weekend, everybody.